Welcome to the Green Wasp Removal YouTube channel. In this episode, we continue training and mentoring the Manchester University Wasp survey team on September 5th, 2024, as we respond to a rental property residence that had a very large and active German Yellowjacket nest located inside an inaccessible wall cavity. A utility person had been stung while attempting to run a new internet line into the building, forcing them to use a different part of the building for wiring. So we were called to help make the building safer. The nest was located behind vintage wooden siding, so we didn't want to cut that up from the outside just for aesthetic reasons, and we couldn't remove the nest from the inside of the building due to multiple tenants living there with different schedules. They had different work schedules, different sleep schedules, and the nest was located in the wall of their main common area room, which was also too large and just too open to contain the wasps safely during a potential demolition of an interior wall. So in situations like this, where we're unable to access and remove the nest directly, we use a process called attrition collection. This involves collecting all the adult forager wasps that we can from the outside of the building by setting up our vacuum extraction gear right at the point they are using to enter and exit the nest. Over a period of several visits to the property, we can steadily reduce the population of flying wasps each time we collect them, until the nest is eventually starved out due to lack of food going into the nest to feed the developing larvae. We utilize all the wasps we collect for venom immunotherapy, or VIT, and this nest was a very big and productive nest with thousands of wasps for collection. This episode shows you how the attrition collection process works at this location over several visits, and also features close-up slow-motion footage of forager wasps bringing a lot of protein back to the nest in the form of pest insects that they have hunted in the wild. We hope you enjoy the show. Thanks for riding along with us today. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment to let us know you're there. Now let's take you back to the beginning of this job on September 5th, 2024, and we'll show you the entire process of the attrition collection at this location.
They're bringing in a lot of meat. That's a busy nest.
Yeah, so there's the yellow jackets in there.
Yep.
Paper wasps in the ceiling, and paper wasps in that box.
It looks like Germanica. They love living inside buildings. All right, today is September 5th, 2024, and we have a very active German Yellowjacket nest here. As you see, there are many foragers coming and going. It's going to be a very high population nest, probably in the thousands. Most likely behind this wall, they have a cavity inside the wall. Inside stud bays, there's normally a large nest. Problem is, in this rental property, there's too many tenants in an open space behind this wall that we cannot go in there and cut the nest out. So what we're going to do is a extraction with vacuum gear from the outside only. It's called an attrition collection. And today we're here with Katie from Manchester University Wasp survey team. And she's going to fire up this vac and get rocking. So as you can see, Germanica wasps are not particularly aggressive. They don't attack us. They don't come after the gloves. Normally, if this was an eastern yellowjacket nest, like the Vespula maculifrons, we'd be getting attacked on our veils, on our gloves. But with German Yellowjacket, that's Vespula germanica, we don't see that problem. They're just not that aggressive. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. All right, we're gonna bang them out. You ready? Here they come. By causing vibration in the wall, we cause a panic and an attack response in the wasps. And what that does is it brings them out of the wall so we can get them collected in the device. The more agitation and vibration they feel, the more they come out of the nest. And with a population this size, we'll probably have at least 1,000 collected today inside this device. The management company, they gave us another one over on Ogden, one of their rentals.
Oh, yeah?
That's going to be one of our ground nests. All right, we've got a pretty good swarm happening. I'm going to step back so they'll come back to the nest and you can collect them here. As you can see, they come around this device for two reasons. It makes noise, and also because the pheromone comes through the vent, all the way down the hose and up the vent, and so they smell the attack pheromone over here. Good, looks good. The collection's coming just fine. That might be all we're going to get for this morning.
Wow.
I let a few of the foragers come back, give it maybe 10, 15 minutes max, and then we'll head to the next job.
Okay.
So the foragers come back in waves, and we just collect several at a time as soon as they come anywhere near the opening of that collection device. So in this dormer structure, we have paper wasps inside the structure. But what we see right now are only defunct nests. No eggs, no larvae. These have been abandoned for the season, or they're from previous years. We'll see if there's anything up in the bag. Nothing obvious back there. So up in this dormer, we have cleared out several nests. We have a mud wasp nest here. And we have 3 defunct paper wasp nests, as well as what you see here, which are Germanica wasps, Yellowjackets. So we have a bunch of foragers still coming back from the environment and getting collected here a little bit at a time. But there's not anything else coming out of the wall. When we try to bang them out, there's no more response. So generally that means whatever's in the nest that's capable of coming out to fly and attack is already out. So we'll just stand by and collect more as they come back to the nest. Yeah, I wonder if it's a temperature and a sunshine thing. I imagine if it was hotter, they'd be more active. We're still seeing a lot of foragers coming back in from the environment, and every one of them is getting sucked up as soon as they approach the nest hall. So we think this morning, before we arrived, there was probably hundreds of them already out of the nest, hunting and gathering. So we're going to have to suck them up as they come back because there's nothing else coming out of the nest. They're only going in. So here's the collection from the wall cavity that we just did from an exterior extraction. And now we're going to go ahead and freeze these in dry ice for venom immunotherapy. So we're going to freeze these now in the dry ice. And the way we do that is we put them in surrounded completely by frozen CO2. And we leave them in there for 15 minutes to get them prepared for long-term storage in a chest freezer. September 7th, 2024. As you can see here, we have a very busy Vespula germanica nest. We've been collecting from the outside on this one because the problems with cutting it out from the inside were pretty significant, so it's easier to collect them from out here.
Here we're going to slow it down. Let's just see what the wasps look like up close in slow motion as they navigate their air traffic into and out of this nest. Yellowjackets are usually super fast movers. It's hard to see the detail of how they operate, how they fly, how they negotiate their air traffic space. And when you slow it down, you can get a much better look at what this looks like. So in this episode, we have several different dates of collection. We show you some regular speed footage and a significant amount of slow motion footage for those of you who really want to study what this looks like up close. For those of you who want to skip forward on the slow motion stuff, you go ahead and do that. But in the slow motion footage, you can really see very specifically what they're bringing into the nest. Large chunks of protein, which they feed to their larvae, that is made up of insects that they hunt in the wild. And this is why yellowjackets are so very important to the ecosystem in general. Even if they're invasive species like the German yellowjacket here in Indiana, it's considered invasive because they came from overseas. They didn't belong here. However, that said, they are still excellent biological pest control agents, and you'll see them bringing back huge chunks of meat, protein, that they hunted by attacking and killing pest insects. You can see that hunting behavior really well in some of this slow motion footage. It is really important to understand as you consider wasps in our ecosystem and you look at wasps on your own property. Wasps are good for the environment. They are better for the environment than any honeybee because honeybees are invasive. They were not supposed to be in North America. They were brought here in the 1600s as livestock to help the settlers from Europe create honey. Since then, honeybees have severely disrupted a lot of the native range for our native bees. They simply took over a lot of the pollination and a lot of the resources that should have gone to our native bees. And that's an issue that we are still dealing with. If you just observe an active nest and you watch how much activity is coming and going from that nest all day, every single day, week after week, month after month, all the way through the season, It's pretty amazing how much these wasps can do in the environment. In just a few minutes of filming here, you're just seeing load after load of protein being brought into this nest by these wasps that are out hunting constantly all day. And they do this for months at a time. Thousands and thousands and thousands of pest insects are taken out of the ecosystem because of this activity, and that's a good thing. This behavior is exactly what wasps are meant to do in the ecosystem. They balance the different insect populations. Next time you see wasps out in the world or on your property, they're out there doing their job, and what they do benefits humanity. That's the bottom line. It benefits humanity all around the world every day. So treat them with respect and only remove them when you have to. It's pretty easy to tell when they should be removed. Number one, if they pose a sting risk because they're too close to a doorway or a window you use all the time, or a sidewalk or something like that where there's a lot of activity and people could get hurt if the wasps are not removed. Or in a situation like you see here where they're nesting inside a wall space and they're chewing away the wood inside there to help build their nest and expand their nest, so they kind of chew everything out of there. The wood, the insulation, the paper, whatever's in there, they will take it out to make room to expand their nest. That's not a great thing to see in a building that needs to be kept solid for weather and for other insect issues. So they have to be removed from a situation like that. But if they're in a safe place, I mean, just look here how much meat they're bringing back, how much of this pest insect control they're doing every moment of every day. So if they're in a place where you can leave them alone, if they're not posing a risk to anyone, if they're not damaging any structure that's important to you, let them live and let them continue doing their job in the ecosystem, and they will make your property virtually pest-free if it's a big active nest. They're just soldiers. They are out there doing mission after mission after mission to help support their colony. And in that process, they're doing the ecosystem a big favor. Here you see a wasp returning with some food in its mouth. That's protein from a pest insect it hunted. Right behind them, here you see one with a drop of fluid coming out of its mouth. What that is it went out and did some nectaring, and during that process of gathering fluids and nectar, which they're starting to regurgitate as they come back to the nest and they will share with other wasps inside the nest, what they're doing is pollinating. They've done some great studies in the UK regarding how underrated wasps like these are in their pollination of other plants. Everybody looks at honeybees as the great pollinators when in fact wasps are the native pollinators in the native areas that they're from. And they're the ones that do a huge amount of the pollination in the way it should be done.
Right, it's September 7th, 2024. I'm here with Elise from the Manchester University Wasp Survey Team, and also with Katie, who's overtaken another call from the Wasp hotline. She'll be joining us. What we're doing today is called an attrition collection. We were here the other day, and we're here again because what we do is collect everything from the outside on an attrition collection, because to get into the interior wall is not possible at this rental house. There's too many tenants in there, and it would be a mess trying to do demo on that wall. So we're just going to collect them from the outside, and it's just a matter of attrition. If you collect them enough and often enough, they will starve out the nest because they can't bring food back. So Elise is about to sit down and relax and start collecting right here. It's a ongoing process. We'll probably be back here multiple weeks in a row. Several days will be required to do this. You can crank it up as high as you need to make sure you don't miss too many. Maybe a little higher. Maybe just a little bit. They're pretty large wasps compared to maculifrons. They can take it. And it'll just get more of them. See the large loads of food they're bringing back? They have like little meatballs that they're carrying in their mandibles.
can see how many wasps are hovering around. And even though we're going directly after their entry hole, notice how they're not attacking Elise. The nest we did this morning was Vespula maculifrons, eastern yellowjacket. They'd be all over Elise right now, on her gloves, on her veil, attacking. But Germanica, Vespula germanica, that's the German yellowjacket, they are not that aggressive. Hey, how are you guys? Going well. Yellowjacket season. So these jobs are super mellow. The attrition jobs are super laid back. And the reason for that is we just don't have to do any digging. We don't have to do any cutting out. We just stand by and let the machine do the work. We can even rig up the pole and lean it against the wall if you get tired of holding it. So here we'll show a little bit more slow motion. Just keep an eye on how much activity happens, how much food is coming into the nest, and how many foragers are just coming in and out, just constantly. We'll just drop in a music track here and let you just enjoy the graceful flight patterns of these wasps and what this process looks like in detail. Anybody's not interested in this, just blast on your fast forward, but for the rest of us, we can just watch. So you can see how many are swarming as they come back from foraging and try to re-enter the nest. Back it up just a little bit so it's hanging out in there. We're going to take flight. Yeah, let's do that. I got the scope in the truck charging right now. Good idea. I'll go grab it. So even though Elise is kind of in a cloud of German Yellowjackets, I don't think a single one has landed on you, have they?
I don't think so.
So they have an entirely different personality compared to Southern Yellowjacket and Eastern Yellowjacket. So now what we're going to do is take this scope camera, which is a fiber optic cable with a camera attached to the end of it, and we're going to put it through the wall hole, and we're going to see if we can't find the nest with the scope cam.
Barely in the wall at all.
Oh wow, look at the screen. You can see that Elise can see the nest already. That's great. So it is right there.
Oh yeah, I'm hitting it. It's like not even far in there at all.
Yeah, it's right behind. It's filling up the whole stud bay. The two studs, there's usually a space between.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, very interesting. Good job. That's where it's at, all right. Cruise around there a little bit, see what you can find. And that'll stir them up a little bit and make them come out.
I can't tell.
Yeah, too hard to tell. Just pull back till you get focus.
Oh, I was definitely in the nest, look.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we know it's right there then.
So that must be comb.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. You probably busted right through the paper, ended up in the comb.
Looks like
Pull it all the way out right to the opening and we'll watch what they look like when they're coming out the tunnel. Hold it right at the edge of the opening there. Pointing kind of straight in. Yeah, they're kind of hanging out, watching. If you hit the button to the side of the white button, you hit that button right there, it'll give you different light modes. More light or less light. The end of your camera has a light on it. So all right, so far, after just a few minutes, that's a good collection in there. Yeah, I'd say at least 200 of them in there by now, maybe more, maybe several hundred. It's hard to tell when they're all in the mosh pit down the bottom. But the swarm's definitely reduced because we have most of the active ones in there now. See that load of food it's carrying? Have you been able to see that? So Elise is going to cap off now because we just got a call on the Wasp hotline that there is a whole bunch of wasps inside a woman's house and she has allergies, pretty significant anaphylactic reaction to wasps. So due to that emergency, we're going to stop this job now because we've collected most of them and there's not much swarm happening here anymore. So we'll be back here for more attrition collection in a couple days. Right. All right, looks good. Let's see what you got. That looks pretty good. That's a good collection, all clustered up at the bottom there. Okay, thanks, Elise. Good work. Here's our Vespula germanica collection from the attrition job. So we just vacuumed them out of the wall. It's a good collection for venom immunotherapy. Now we're going to freeze them in dry ice. All right, so we're going to take our Vespula germanica in the dry ice cooler and cover them with dry ice. We'll leave them in there for 15 minutes and then we'll transfer them to the chest freezer. So that's what an attrition collection process looks like. When we can't get access to the nest directly to pull it out of the structure, we work from the outside, we collect all the flying wasps over several visits, and eventually we starve the nest out because it just simply cannot support itself if there's no food coming in. And we capture all the wasps that are bringing food coming in. So thanks for riding along with us. We appreciate your support. Have a good one.